The story begins in Shanghai City, within the quiet room of a woman named Jiang Wangshin. Unknown to his mother, the baby is a reincarnated soul possessing the consciousness of his former life. At only 33 days old, a status screen identifies him as Lin Zichin, a Tier 1 ordinary biological being. His father remarks on the baby's physical gifts, predicting he will become a mighty gene fuser or perhaps a cyborg. By kicking 10,000 times, Zichin unlocks his first major skill, use and advance. This unique ability allows any part of his body he trains to grow infinitely stronger within carbon-based limits. To avoid frightening his parents with his unnaturally fast development, he chooses to train only at night. While watching television, a news report reveals the terrifying truth about mutated creatures called aberrant beasts. Humanity has developed two paths to survive: mechanical ascension into cyborgs or gene modification with beast traits. Zichin resolves to use his system to grow up safely while laying low in this perilous world. One day, their new neighbors arrive, introducing Zichin to his first friend, Shenqing Han. He senses their destinies will one day be tightly bound together in this new world. By 8 months old, Zichin's secret training has progressed to doing sit-ups and push-ups in his crib. His mother is stunned to see her infant son exercising, but she dismisses it as a hallucination. As a web novel author, she jokes that her son might be a 1-in-a-million prodigy destined for greatness. By age 2, he is secretly lifting 20-kilo weights in the storage room with one hand. When Han comes over to play, he finds a unique way to turn their time into a workout. There is one recurring problem, as he often finds that Han has accidentally peed on him during their play. At age 3, he learns that life is categorized into 6 biological levels, from ordinary to mythical. Realizing normal humans are at the very bottom, a new fire is lit under his training regimen. His system alerts him to a new mind training quest: read 100 million characters. At age 4, Zichin and Han begin kindergarten, where he quickly breaks through to ordinary Tier 2. One day, he finds other children bullying Han and calling her a bedwetter. Seeing his friend bullied, Zichin leaps dramatically into the center of the group to protect her. He unleashes a terrifying threat that if they bully her again, he will pee on their beds every day. The childish but menacing threat works, and the bullies burst into tears, vowing never to return. This heroic act unlocks a new title, the Kindergarten Kid King. Half a year later, he completes his reading quest and is awarded the Celestial Root of Wisdom. This grant gives him a perfect eidetic memory and peak human learning ability. By the time they graduate kindergarten, he can already sprint 100 meters in under 11 seconds. His new life begins at Sunshine Elementary School, where academic competitions prove to be effortless. The routine of school life is suddenly shattered by the appearance of a special transfer student named Bai Shuer. Zichin immediately senses that she carries a non-human aura, far different from the others. After a month, a bizarre phenomenon occurs as Shuer starts to secrete a foul-smelling white liquid. When a cruel bully pours water over Shuer's head, Han asks Zichin to help her. Zichin grabs the lead bully by the collar and orders him to wipe the desk immediately. Grateful for their help, Shuer gives them a necklace with a pair of beast fangs as a symbol of friendship. Just as their friendship is solidified, Shuer suddenly transfers out of the school and vanishes. Years pass, and Zichin continues to grow stronger, now able to lift 500 kilos without any gene fusion. His quiet training is interrupted by a horrifying news report of massive aberrant rats devouring civilians. Zichin watches a squadron of heavily armed cyborgs fly through the night sky, sensing trouble. The beast fang necklace Shuer gave them begins to emit a bright blue glow in Han's presence. On their way home, they are cornered in a deserted alleyway by 2 sinister kidnappers. When the man rushes them, Zichin shoves Han aside and throws a devastating punch. He stands over the defeated criminals, realizing he must finish them to protect his secret identity. Suddenly, the ground trembles as a monstrous giant aberrant rat smashes through a nearby building. Zichin scoops the horrified Han into his arms and sprints away from the carnage. A female cyborg with rabbit ear attachments on her helmet dives from the sky to fight the monster. Watching the news report later, Zichin concludes that the cyborg's power level was surprisingly low. He resolves to increase his training to protect himself and the people he cares about. As the years passed, Lin Zichin grew into a lean and powerful teenager through relentless secret training. The middle school athletic festivals became his playground for testing the limits of his pure human stats. With a single explosive movement, he shattered the school record for the 100-meter dash without using a single cybernetic enhancement. Each victory awarded him precious system points that he immediately poured into his vitality and strength attributes. During lunch breaks, he often sat with Shenqing Han, noticing the subtle tension in her posture as she studied her textbooks. He noticed a group of students with illegal mechanical limb upgrades whispering and pointing at her from the shadows. One evening, Shenqing did not arrive at their usual meeting spot after the school's library closed. Zichin closed his eyes and activated his system's sensory enhancement to track her unique biological signature. He followed the trail into a decaying industrial district where the air smelled of ozone and rusted metal. He scaled a vertical pipe with feline grace, reaching the rusted window of an abandoned warehouse. Inside, he saw Shenqing Han tied to a chair, surrounded by thugs holding glowing energy batons. The leader of the group was a man with a fully mechanical jaw that clicked with every word he spoke. Zichin didn't wait for an explanation before crashing through the skylight in a rain of glass shards. He landed in a crouch, the floor cracking beneath his feet from the sheer force of his descent. The first thug lunged with a cybernetic fist, but Zichin caught the metal arm with his bare hand. With a sharp twist, he crushed the hydraulic pistons, rendering the expensive upgrade useless in seconds. He moved like a shadow between the attackers, striking pressure points that bypassed their armored plating. Within minutes, the room was silent except for the groans of the defeated kidnappers. He untied Shenqing's ropes, her eyes widening as she realized her classmate was far more than a simple athlete. They walked home in silence, the weight of his secret finally beginning to press against the edges of his normal life. Following the incident, Zichin realized he needed even more power to face the growing threats of this world. He acquired a sample of high-grade beast essence from a black market dealer using the prize money from his tournaments. Instead of injecting it as gene fusers do, he used his system's devour function to break it down into raw energy. A searing heat flooded his veins as the essence tried to rewrite his DNA, but his pure blood foundation resisted. After hours of struggle, the system chimed, announcing a permanent increase to his cellular density. By his senior year of high school, Zichin's reputation as an unbeatable human had reached the ears of elite academies. He received a recruitment letter from the Budo Academy, the only institution that still taught ancient martial arts. He knew that entering the academy would mean leaving his quiet life behind and stepping into the real war. The world outside the city was changing, with reports of God Seed sightings becoming more frequent. Zichin packed his few belongings, including a hidden stash of beast essence he had collected. He looked at his parents one last time, knowing they still thought he was just a talented student with a bright future. On the train to the Budo Academy, he sat across from a mysterious girl who kept her face hidden under a wide-brimmed hat. The air in the train car suddenly grew cold, and Zichin felt a familiar, malignant presence nearby. A passenger in the back of the car began to mutate, their skin turning into thick, green vines. Zichin stood up, his body automatically falling into a defensive stance learned from his past life. He struck the creature with a palm thrust infused with refined beast energy, knocking it back into the vestibule. The girl in the hat watched him with interest, her hand resting on a sword hilt wrapped in ancient silk. The train screeched to a halt at the academy gates, the monster having been neutralized, but the warning clear. As the doors opened, Zichin felt thousands of eyes watching from the shadows of the academy buildings. He noticed that some of the senior students didn't have shadows, their feet hovering slightly off the ground. A massive screen in the center of the plaza displayed a ranking system that he didn't recognize. Suddenly, a voice echoed inside his mind, bypassing his auditory nerves completely. "The first feast begins tonight, pure one," the voice whispered with a hunger that chilled his blood. Zichin looked down at his system interface and saw a new red-lettered notification flashing across his vision. The message read, "Warning, you have been marked as sacrifice by the divine Envoy." Zichin stared at the ominous marking on his holographic display as the train sped toward the Budo Academy. He knew the plant god cult would not stop until they harvested his unique, pure human essence. Upon arriving at the academy, he noticed the subtle presence of corrupt spores floating in the ventilation system. He quickly integrated into the traditional martial arts research group, finding solace among fellow purists. During the first survival assessment, the sky suddenly turned a sickly shade of violet. Massive vines erupted from the ground, ensnaring the unsuspecting students in a deadly trap. Zichin moved like a blur, his hands slicing through the vegetation with the precision of a master blade. He gathered the panicked freshmen behind a barrier of pure kinetic force. A chilling laughter echoed through the trees as a towering figure stepped out of the shadows. The Envoy declared that Zichin's blood would become the fertilizer for the coming god. Zichin closed his eyes, centering his breath as the system calculated his ultimate evolution path. System, remove all limiters and initiate the infinite human protocol, he whispered. The Envoy lunged forward, swinging massive wooden clubs that could shatter steel. Zichin stepped through the attack, his body vibrating at a frequency that made him nearly invisible. He delivered a palm strike to the Envoy's chest, sending a ripple of golden energy through its bark-like skin. The monster shrieked, its purple eyes flickering as its internal structure began to crack. It summoned a forest of thorns to impale Zichin from every direction. Zichin spun, his kicks creating a whirlwind of vacuum blades that shredded the thorns into splinters. "You are nothing more than a parasite on this planet," Zichin declared coldly. The Envoy transformed, growing 3 times its size as it tapped into the source land's corrupted core. Zichin recognized the pattern and realized he needed to strike the core directly. He sprinted up the monster's colossal arm, dodging lashes from smaller vine tentacles. With a roar, he channeled every ounce of his system points into a single, concentrated strike. The punch landed with the force of a falling star, piercing through the Envoy's defenses. The monstrous entity dissolved into ash, its corrupt influence fading from the forest instantly. Zichin landed softly on the ground, his system screen flashing with a dozen level-up notifications. The other students rushed toward him, their eyes filled with awe and newfound respect. He stood up and deactivated the system, hiding his true power once again beneath a calm exterior. The Academy Masters arrived shortly after, shocked to find the threat already neutralized. Zichin's reputation as the Reborn Prodigy was cemented, though he cared little for the fame. He knew this was only the beginning of a much larger war against the cults. Weeks passed as he refined his new techniques, preparing for the inevitable journey to the Source Lands. He sent a message to his parents, assuring them that his martial arts hobby was going well. Shen Qinghan visited him, thanking him for the courage he had inspired in the entire class. The Budo Academy promoted him to a special research rank, giving him access to ancient scrolls. He discovered that the infinite human path was the only way to truly save the planet's ecosystem. With his heart steeled, he made a silent vow to protect his world from all divine invaders. His evolution was no longer just about personal strength, it was about the survival of the human race. As the sun rose over a new era, Lin Zichin stepped forward into his destiny as the ultimate human. The screen faded to black as the world finally found its champion in the Reborn Prodigy.